London is facing a moment of great tension as rival protests prepare to collide in Whitehall on September 13th. The city has already been shaken by anger over immigration issues and the shocking murder of American activist Charlie Kirk, which has fueled even more outrage and division. Nearly 900 arrests were made last week, and this has left London on edge, with fear that further violence may erupt. Authorities are responding with a massive security plan. Police have announced the deployment of 1,600 officers, along with barriers and riot control squads in order to contain possible clashes. The fear is that opposing groups may come face-to-face in the heart of the capital, and that such a meeting could spiral into chaos and bloodshed. Whitehall is a highly symbolic area because it is home to government buildings and institutions, making the protests even more sensitive. People on both sides are motivated by strong emotions. Supporters of strict immigration policies are demanding tougher measures, while critics accuse them of spreading hate and division. The murder of Charlie Kirk has only heightened passions and created a flashpoint that could ignite more unrest. Officials are calling for calm, but many worry that words may not be enough to prevent confrontation. The atmosphere in London is described as fragile and unstable, with tensions rising and with both camps showing little sign of compromise. The police presence is seen as the only force standing between heated anger and violent conflict. The coming protest in Whitehall is not just about policy disagreements, but also about control of public space and the battle of ideas in the streets of the capital city. Leaders know that what happens on September 13th may shape the political and social climate for weeks to come. Authorities have now deployed 1,600 officers across key areas, with barriers, tactical units, mounted police, and riot squads stationed strategically around Whitehall, Parliament Square, Trafalgar Square, and adjoining streets in an effort to contain potential flashpoints and prevent the protests from spiraling into full-scale riots, reminiscent of the darkest moments in the cities. Modern history, when political grievances combined with anger over immigration sparked violent clashes. The murder of Charlie Kirk during a public event in Utah last week has sent shockwaves through activist networks across the Atlantic, with his supporters calling for justice and mourning his loss, while opponents on the far left have been accused by critics of inflaming tensions with inflammatory rhetoric and provocative demonstrations that risk drawing vulnerable young people into confrontations with police and rival protest groups. In Whitehall, the stage is now set for confrontation as right-wing demonstrators. Many of them vocal opponents of immigration policies gather in large numbers, waving national flags, chanting slogans, and demanding stronger border controls and tougher measures on asylum.
I think the current government is a disgrace. It's taking away our liberties and making up things as they go along. I've never seen a government so disorganised.
Seekers and illegal migration, while counter-protesters organized by leftist groups, multicultural coalitions, and student movements mobilize nearby to push back against what they describe as hate speech, racism, and attempts to scapegoat vulnerable communities. Police commanders have briefed officers to remain vigilant, patient, and professional, while making it clear that any acts of violence, vandalism, or intimidation will be met with immediate intervention and arrest, with courts already on standby to process detainees in fast-track hearings designed to send a message that law and order will not be compromised even under extraordinary pressure. Businesses around Whitehall have boarded up windows, shops and cafes have closed for the weekend, and some public institutions have canceled events and reduced staff presence, with many Londoners choosing to stay away from the area, altogether fearful that the protests could descend into chaos, similar to the riots of previous decades when property was torched, police were injured, and communities were left divided for years. The atmosphere is further charged by the political backdrop as leaders from different parties seize the moment to advance competing narratives, with right-wing politicians blaming unchecked immigration policies for rising tensions and crime, while liberal leaders accuse their opponents of exploiting tragedy and stoking division to score political points and distract from broader economic and social crises. The legacy of Charlie Kirk himself adds another layer to the story, as the activist built a career on controversial positions, sharp rhetoric, and combative public appearances. earning admiration from conservative circles and deep criticism from progressives who saw him as a figure who thrived on polarization and confrontation. His death under violent circumstances has turned him into both a martyr for some and a symbol of division for others, intensifying emotions on all sides.
And you can have a 4-star hotel, free board and lodge to stop illegal migration into this country. It's tearing us apart. You know, we've got people here, the veterans, our veterans that fought for us and for our freedom, lying on the streets with nowhere to go. But you pop in, get rid of your documents.